The Galactic Council chamber fell silent when Ambassador walked through the massive doors. She was small compared to the towering alien delegates. The representative stood at nearly 12 feet tall with blue scales covering his entire body. The delegate floated in a special gravity pod, her jellyfish-like form pulsing with bioluminescent light. There were 17 species present, and all of them looked at the human woman with a mixture of curiosity and doubt. High Chancellor, the oldest member of the council, spoke first. His voice echoed through the ancient hall like thunder rolling across mountains. The human delegation has requested to address the matter of the conflict. This war has lasted for 347 standard cycles. Many have tried to end it. All have failed. What makes humanity believe they can succeed where the greatest minds of the galaxy have not? Smiled. It was not a smile of arrogance. It was the smile of someone who had seen something others had missed. She pressed a small device on her wrist, and holographic images appeared above the council floor. Maps, trade routes, and centuries of battle data filled the air with glowing light. With respect, High Chancellor said, "We believe the council has been trying to solve the wrong problem." Murmurs spread through the chamber. The delegate slammed his massive fist against his podium. Insult. The Galactic Council has studied this conflict for generations. Our analysts have examined every aspect. They want the Nexus corridor for their mining operations. They claim it as sacred ancestral space. There is no middle ground. This is known. Nodded slowly. That is what both sides say, yes. But my team spent the last 6 months not listening to what they say. We watched what they do. She changed the holographic display. New images appeared showing ships and vessels, but these were not battle formations. They showed something else entirely: trade vessels, communication signals, secret meetings on neutral moons. The N have been trading with each other for the past 80 years, explained. Not officially, not openly, but through third parties and hidden channels. Their economies are deeply connected. The mining corporations sell raw materials to manufacturing guilds. They sell finished technology back to colonies. If this war actually ended the way each side publicly demands, both civilizations would face economic collapse within a decade. The chamber erupted. Delegates shouted in their native languages. Translation devices struggled to keep up with the chaos. High Chancellor raised all 4 of his arms, demanding silence. "You are suggesting," he said slowly, "that both sides are fighting a war they do not wish to win." Shook her head. "I am suggesting that the leaders on both sides have forgotten why the war started. The original dispute was real, but over 3 centuries something changed. The war became useful. It unified populations. It justified taxes. It created jobs in weapons manufacturing. Generals built careers. Politicians won elections by promising victory. The war became an industry." The delegate's pod floated closer. Her telepathic voice entered Sm's mind directly, though all delegates could hear through the translation system. "If what you say is true, then peace is impossible. Both governments need this conflict to maintain power." "That is what we thought at first," admitted. "But then we looked deeper. We talked to regular citizens, factory workers, farmers, soldiers who had fought on the front lines, and we found something interesting." She displayed new data, survey results, interview recordings, personal testimonies from thousands of ordinary and collected through careful, quiet diplomacy. 83% of citizens want peace. They are tired of sending their children to die for territory they will never see. 79% say the same. The sacred status of the Nexus Corridor was actually a political invention from 200 years ago. Most under the age of 50 do not even believe in it. They just do not say so publicly because it would be considered unpatriotic. The delegate leaned forward, his earlier anger replaced by genuine interest. "You gathered this information in 6 months. Our intelligence networks have operated in both territories for centuries. We found no such sentiment." His expression softened with understanding. Your network spoke to leaders, officials, and military commanders, people with power, people who benefit from the war continuing. We spoke to everyone else, shopkeepers, teachers, medical workers, the people who actually live with the consequences of this conflict. High Chancellor, ancient eyes studied the human ambassador with new appreciation. Even if this is accurate, how do you propose to use this information? The governments will not simply abandon a war because their citizens are tired. Took a deep breath. This was the moment everything would change. We already have. 47 hours ago, we presented this data simultaneously to every major news network on both Prime and 4. Not to the governments, to the people directly. The silence that followed was absolute. Even the environmental system seemed to pause. You did what? The delegate's voice was barely a whisper. Continued calmly. The information spread faster than either government could suppress it. Citizens on both worlds saw the truth. They saw that their leaders had been maintaining a war for profit and power while pretending it was about principle. They saw that their supposed enemies wanted peace just as desperately as they did. Within 18 hours, protests began in every major city on both planets. She updated the holographic display one final time. Live feeds appeared showing massive crowds in alien streets, millions of beings carrying signs demanding peace, military units refusing to deploy, government buildings surrounded by their own citizens. 6 hours ago, the High Command announced a unilateral ceasefire. 4 hours ago, the Sacred Council agreed to peace negotiations. 2 hours ago, both governments formally requested that humanity serve as neutral mediators for a permanent settlement. High Chancellor rose from his seat. His massive form seemed to shrink slightly, humbled by what he was witnessing. 347 years. 17 peace conferences organized by this council, 4 failed treaties, billions of casualties, and humans ended it in 2 days by simply telling the truth to the right people. Shook her head gently. We did not end anything, High Chancellor. The people ended it. We just gave them the information they needed. The desire for peace was always there. It was just buried under layers of propaganda, tradition, and fear. The delegate floated before, her bioluminescent form pulsing with colors that the translation device interpreted as deep respect. We have observed humanity for only a short time since your species achieved faster-than-light travel. We thought you were young and inexperienced. We believed you had nothing to teach civilizations that have existed for millions of years. We were wrong. Smiled warmly. Every species has something to teach, Ambassador. We humans have a long and terrible history of war ourselves. We have fought over land, resources, religion, and ideology. We have committed horrible acts against each other. But we have also learned, painfully and slowly, that the people who suffer most in any war are rarely the ones who start it. She paused, looking around the chamber at all the different species gathered together. Maybe that is what we can offer the galaxy. Not superior technology or military strength, just hard lessons learned from our own bloody history. We know what it looks like when war becomes an institution. We have seen it happen. And we know that the only cure is truth delivered directly to the people who pay the real price. High Chancellor descended from his platform and stood before the human ambassador. Despite his great size, he bowed his head in a gesture of respect that had not been shown to any species in over 1,000 years. Humanity has demonstrated wisdom today that this council could not achieve in centuries. We formally acknowledge your contribution to galactic peace, and we ask that you continue to share your perspective with us. Nodded graciously. We would be honored, but I would ask something in return. The chamber tensed slightly. Speak, said. There are 14 other active conflicts in the galaxy right now. Species fighting over territory, resources, ancient grievances. Wars that your analysts say are impossible to resolve. Eyes held a determined light. Let us try. Not with weapons, not with sanctions, just with truth and understanding. Let us talk to the people who are actually dying and ask them what they really want." The council voted unanimously to approve her request. For the first time in recorded galactic history, a species that had been part of the interstellar community for less than a century was given authority to mediate disputes between civilizations millions of years old. As left the chamber, a young diplomat approached her. His scales were pale green, and his eyes still carried the haunted look of someone who had seen too much war. "How did you know it would work?" he asked quietly. "How could you be so sure that the people would choose peace?" Stopped and considered the question carefully. "I was not sure at all, but I believed in something that my species learned long ago. People everywhere, no matter what they look like or where they come from, mostly want the same things: safety for their families, food on their tables, a future for their children. They do not wake up dreaming of conquest. They dream of peace. The hard part is not convincing people to want peace. It is helping them see that peace is actually possible." The young diplomat stood silently for a moment, processing her words. "My grandfather died in this war. My father lost 3 limbs. I thought I would die in it too. And now it is over because some small, soft-skinned aliens from a planet no one had heard of decided to ask ordinary people what they thought." Placed her hand gently on his arm. "Your people ended this war. All we did was listen to them when no one else would. That is not some special human ability. Anyone can do it. They just have to choose to." She walked away, leaving the young to contemplate a future he had never dared to imagine. Behind her, the Galactic Council continued to debate, to analyze, to wonder how such a young species could see what ancient civilizations had missed. The answer was simple, though few would understand it immediately. Humans had not succeeded because they were smarter or stronger. They had succeeded because they remembered what it felt like to be powerless. They remembered being the ones who suffered while leaders made decisions. And they knew that the most powerful force in any civilization was not its military or its wealth. It was the people. It had always been the people. And sometimes, all those people needed was someone willing to ask them what they truly wanted, and then help them believe they could actually have it.